Well, many people taking to food delivery apps like Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes while hunkering at home during this pandemic. It's helping restaurants survive. But these apps are also taking a big bite out of restaurant revenue. Lawrence LaPianta is the owner of the Cherry Street Barbecue, and Nick DiDonato, the president of Liberty Group, coming at this from different sides on if they're good or not. And they join us this morning. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Morning, Roger.
Morning, Roger.
Nick, we'll start with you. You're concerned about the commissions that are charged by the apps, Uber specifically, 30%. What are your concerns about that?
Well, the reality is that our costs in restaurants are extremely high. So we have a 35% food cost, 32% labor cost, and then there's a 30% charge for Uber, which leaves absolutely nothing for the restaurant in terms of the profitability.
And this is obviously hurting you, but for Lauren or for Nick, let's just ask you. Or sorry, Lawrence, let's ask you. You use Uber Eats and the other apps. Why do you like them? What is the benefit of them?
I mean, I think essentially the most important point right now is that Nick and I share the same sentiment. We just have a different perspective on it right now because we're different businesses. I opened a deli location, not far from your studios downtown, just 4 weeks before this all happened. So we opened up February 15th and everything shut down on the 15th of March. So without having any exposure and without having people walk around, and without having Uber for the first 2 weeks after the closures, we probably would have been closed by now had we not had apps in place and ready to be set up to get some revenue going and have a built-in customer base. So it's really helped us that way. But if you ran a business just based on Uber, you wouldn't be able to do it in the city of Toronto. You'd have to be out in the middle of nowhere in a warehouse and just run like a virtual ghost restaurant or something. You can't be an Uber restaurant or an apps restaurant in downtown Toronto and survive.
And Nick, is there a solution to it? Is there a way around using the apps?
Well, I think the apps are very important, and that is actually why I'm concerned, because that will be our lifeline. When restaurants are open and they're only at 20% or 50% capacity, we need incremental revenue, and our deliveries are the only incremental revenue we can get. So the reality is we're not saying apps and Uber apps is not right to use and isn't bringing us incremental business. The problem is the charges, the incredible charge that Uber, for example, at 30% is implementing on their delivery. And other cities around the world have started implementing maximum rates for commissions. So San Francisco, New York, Washington have imposed legislation to restrict the commissions to 15%. If that was the case here in Toronto, Uber Eats would be fantastic, and we would be very pleased using their service and using the delivery app.
Now, Lawrence, this is difficult because you have to pass on the costs. I mean, you can't. Do you eat that, or do you have to pass that on to the customer?
No, our prices in the store are the same as they are on the app. But essentially, like I said, right now it's helping us keep the lights on and keep the door open. But if we were to maintain strictly an Uber environment or an apps environment for all deliveries, we would then have to change our prices accordingly to make up for the difference, because we can't operate. We priced ourselves competitively and fairly, but that doesn't work when someone's taking 25 to 30% of your net.
And what about the concerns some groups had? Craig's Cookies at Toronto Bakery with outages. Have you seen that still? Lawrence, will ask you first, and then Nick, you can respond after that. But have you seen those outages, concerns about that, and people and restaurants pulling right out of the apps?
Outages on their end in terms of technical difficulties? Or just
Sorry, you just got cut up. One more.
No, I was saying when you said outages, is that in terms of on their end with the app going down and issues with that? Okay. Yeah, we have, but I think most restaurants right now in a circumstance that we're in and trying to make a go of it, we're running multiple apps. So you'll see that there is spikes and distinct kind of like systems that set up. Like Uber went down, Skip the Dishes went up. At the downtown location, Ritual picked up. So we're running multiple apps at several platforms, and if Uber has an issue or whatnot, and also went down over the weekend. We weren't open at the deli that weekend, and we noticed that there's so much foot traffic at the Cherry Street location on the weekends if the weather's nice that we, with just pickup traffic and calling in, with Uber being down, we didn't notice it much. I guess it would have hurt us more if it was during the week.
I'm just gonna cut you off and give last word to Nick. Your thoughts on that before we go.
Well, if everybody can get to 15% commissions, we would be very grateful to all the online platforms. And when you make a quick analysis, for me to take Uber from Casa Loma, Blue Blood, and take a ride, it would be $7 to Spadina Village. I pay on average $30 for a delivery for Uber to Spadina Village. That's why it doesn't make sense and very difficult to understand why this is the process.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. It sounds like there's still more to work on here, but we appreciate you both sharing your thoughts on this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.